Good morning, everybody. Hi, it's Ing, and this is the Friday edition of Praise You. Hi, Jeanette. Good morning. I'm just going to pin this little message that I have here so everyone knows who's coming on. My friend Erin Mcmonagle is joining us today, and she is the Senior Director of Special Events at the New Museum in New York. And we're going to... Thank you, Stacy. That's so sweet of you. Hi from Boston, by the way, and tell me where you're coming from. So Erin and I have known each other for several years, and we'll tell you how that went down because it's non-art related, but we both went back into the arts. So let's get started. Are you ready, Erin? Yes. I'm into this. We're going to have a really fun Friday morning session because you talk to us about. Hi, how are you? I'm good. Can everyone hear Erin okay? Keep talking, Erin. Let's just see.
Yeah, I mean, if they say no, that'll be the first time in my life people have said they couldn't hear me. So
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Where are you right now? Tell us.
I am in my bedroom in South Park Slope in Brooklyn.
Nice.
It's super rainy out today, so I think today is a good day to go for a walk. Because I think there will be fewer people.
Oh, that's true. Interesting. Yeah. Is it crowded during your walks?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I've been trying not to go out. One place, this was going to be on my favorite things list, but I can just tell you now. I live a few blocks from Greenwood Cemetery. And it's one of my favorite places in the world in general. Yes. I'm very fascinated by cemeteries, but, that's gorgeous. There are trees everywhere. There are beautiful sculptures everywhere. And it's huge. So you can get a really big walk in. And there aren't that many living people there.
Right.
And
just spirits everywhere.
Just spirits everywhere, but apparently they are immune. So
No, it is such a gorgeous place. We used to take the kids there all the time. And there was one fall we collected pine cones for the Christmas trees and decorated them and put glitter on them. And there was no fear
You're the
of
coolest mom. You're the coolest.
It was actually another mom who brought us there, and I just couldn't believe that, I had never spent time there before. But my good friend Carla Shen, who's on the board of Greenwood, she's also on the board of the Brooklyn Museum. So she's done a lot to integrate the arts into Greenwood Cemetery as well.
They're amazing, and they have been doing tours on Instagram of the graveyard with their curator and then with one of the historians. So kind of talking about, the history of the people who are there and then the history of the artists who have done some of the headstones and mausoleum. And, Greenwood was actually the first public museum in New York. That's really, museum, but it's the first place where people could really go and kind of be around art because at the time they opened in 1838 and at the time if you wanted to see art you kind of had to go to a private salon or a private space, so that really wasn't accessible to everyone. But Greenwood was and still is.
Well, love that recommendation. We're going to get so many more from you today. But I raised my cup of tea to you for a good Friday morning, and thank you so much for getting us started.
I raised my cup of beautiful. It's cold brew coffee from Win Coffee, and then this is from Erin Louise Clancy, who is a ceramic artist in Brooklyn, and I love her work, and it's been making me really happy to have those beautiful pieces.
The art of the tea is one of my favorite, or coffee, the ritual is wonderful. So for those who are just joining, this is Erin Mcmonagle from the New Museum's Senior Director of Special Events. And we go back probably at this point 6 years or so.
2014.
And you guys are not going to believe how we know each other, but we met because we were working together on activations for South by Southwest. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Erin was on the events team at Mashable, and I was heading up not special events, partnerships and marketing at a company called Tatley. And Mashable brought Tatley in to be a partner for South by Southwest in Austin. This must have been 2007, 2006. So I don't know, at some point.
Yeah, we worked together the first time starting in 2014.
Oh wow!
Our first South by was 2015 then.
Okay, yeah. So the way Mashable would do South by was they created this massive environment of all of these activations. It was like the event to go to for the whole entire week. And we ended up doing it twice with you. And then we did Comic-Con together as well. But what's so cool about Erin is that she came from the art world and then went to Mashable and then went back to the art world. So why don't you tell us briefly about your career trajectory and what you do now at the New Museum?
Oh gosh. Okay. So just really, really fast. I actually kind of started my first kind of art thing was interning for Richard Foreman. And I did that while I was still in college. And then my costume design professor actually lived upstairs from Maurizio Catalan. So I started interning for him when I graduated. And then I started working at the Swiss Institute. And then I went to Weeksville Heritage Center. And then I started doing big food festivals and fairs. And then I went to Mashable. Which was, another kind of big scale production job. And then I went to the New Museum, where my focus is on not only our fundraising events, not only our exhibition openings, but also the rentals of the space and partnering with those clients.
Yeah. So you're really earned income in part for the New Museum, as well as trying to make income for the New Museum.
Exactly.
And so you're in a position now, you and your peers in special events, you're in a position where at the time of COVID-19 and the shutdown, obviously these special events are not happening. Yeah. And in fact, we're heading into what would be spring gala season right now.
We're in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's right. So because I know Brooklyn Museum had one of their galas, their events the night before New York City shut down pretty much. And I think their artist ball would have been 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
So how was your calendar affected by the shutdown?
Well, so our gala was supposed to be last week. I think it was last week. It was April 16th. So that was canceled. Then in terms of our rental calendar, people are doing a lot of inquiries from September on. Yeah. But pretty much anything we had in March, so March on, in terms of our rental events, those were canceled, postponed. So a lot of what I'd been doing with my team and what our peer organizations have been doing is figuring out ways, mutually beneficial ways for us to postpone or cancel and work with clients on that. Because it's, as with everything, it's changing every single day. And I think, we were talking about yesterday about when things open up or go back to normal. What is normal? Normal is going to change every single day. And there's a cultural institution events group that I'm a part of. And just a lot of our questions are okay, we can open for events, but what kind of limitations on attendees will there be? Will there be limitations, restrictions on what caterers can serve? Will there be some kind of rules about what kind of events can happen?
Right.
Our business is not particularly... it's not focused on social events, but there are a lot of these cultural organizations that, weddings are really their bread and butter. And that's not the case at the New Museum, but, at some place like New York Public Library, the Brooklyn Museum, like that's a lot for them. And, having a 200-person wedding might be really difficult.
That's right.
So there are so many questions and... so many things coming up in terms of, contracting.
Yes,
how you
that's
protect
right.
the museum and your clients.
Yeah, the lawyers are going to be very busy revising contracts.
Very busy.
Coming up. That's so interesting. Well, so what have you seen in your discussions with your peers from these other organizations in terms of alternatives or new models of fundraising, not necessarily fundraising, but event-driven programs, which you guys were so, specifically focused on. How do you think this is going to move forward, or have you guys already started looking at models that you think could be viable for the future?
Amongst the cultural organizations, so Jazz at Lincoln Center did a virtual gala, and it was really pretty incredible what they did, and it speaks to the talent or the in-house talent and how incredible they are. Really kind of tops in their field, and not just, Wynton Marsalis. Like, this is really their editors, their producers, their marketing team, their designers. So they, essentially, it was a massive concert of, different musicians in their homes performing. And I think people really loved that. And that's kind of, that's one of my other favorite things that's been happening is, that intimacy of being in a performer's home, and then also just like celebrity casualness about
totally.
Like Matthew McConaughey's just sitting in his kitchen talking about how to lose a guy in 10 days.
That's great.
And Wolf of Wall Street, and it's
that's awesome.
That's great. That's great. So, and I know that there are some other peer institutions who are looking at virtual galas. What does that mean? That's something I think everyone's figuring out. For me, what I'm interested to know is that galas are really the major fundraisers, the top fundraisers for not just the New Museum, they're the top fundraisers for cultural institutions across the board. So how, if something is open to the public, do you still generate funds that are really completely essential? And I don't know what the outcome of Jazz at Lincoln Centers was, but I know that it was kind of pay as you wish.
I see. That was my question.
And kind of when do those paywalls go up is something I'm interested in, and not just for fundraising events. I'm interested in that for what would be seen as public programs that are happening online. Because there's a lot of free content obviously happening. It's heavy saturation, and it's hard to kind of pull through that. So
there's and then also the sensitivity right now to people's wallets and how much they can afford to. You don't want to right now, or really honestly, it really shouldn't ever happen, but you don't want to have to discriminate against people from enjoying something that is so wonderful, and that we're saying, music is essential and it's something that we all would thrive on and need at this time. So making it, as pay as you wish or a donation based totally makes sense for that moment in time. But like in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, if we're still not able to have these packed events, people next to each other for like a step and repeat. And I mean, that sort of stuff isn't going to happen very easily either. Right.
Making a 10 top table into a 14 top table, like squeezing people in like that.
I know. Right.
Which is, if galas, that's always something that people request.
Yeah. But I mean, the other part of galas too was, the honoring somebody or kind of, and then for people who, would be considered socialites, right? Like being seen at an event, being seen to support an organization that, they, that is important to them, but also like socially important. And if you can only do that from, your living room and everybody else can do that from their living room, then it changes the game entirely. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think I've mentioned this before, but, I'm on the board of ISCP and we have a very modest fundraiser every year. Usually, a lovely gallery in New York will donate their space and we put art up. We have an auction and it's set for September, usually, sometime in the early fall. And, there's going to have to be a contingency plan, right? So like assuming we can still have a physical event, that's great. But then what do you do if suddenly you can't, or, the measures are that you can only have a certain number of people in a room at a time. Yeah. It really messes with everyone's budgets.
Completely.
The hard part.
And it's scary, and like I said, we don't have any answers because everything changes. So I think you're really seeing the flexibility of arts organizations in terms of, being able to think on our feet and being able to pivot. But there's only so many pivots you can make. But I think everyone in every field, everyone kind of personally is trying to figure out what this means every day.
Right. I have a thought. And actually, before I say that, everyone who's joining in just now, this is Erin Mcmonagle from the New Museum, Senior Director of Special Events. And I mentioned this earlier, but in case you didn't hear it, we know each other from working on South by Southwest together when she was at Mashable. And, the model that Mashable had is not different per se from nonprofits, but, the Mashable House was sponsored by large corporate entities. Right. So, like, I remember one year it was MasterCard, and it was like they built an elevator where you could go in and give your elevator pitch. And then they gave like $10,000 away to someone. That was insane. So there were these massive corporate sponsors, and but the gate fees were free. Right. You could go for free. So, and already I know like Guggenheim and, you guys too at the New Museum, there are corporate sponsors for these events. And assuming that continues, perhaps, that's a way of just like kind of rebalancing where that money comes from within the budget, assuming these corporations have the funds to continue sponsoring. Right. Like if you just had like an underwriter for an entire event and that corporation is looked on as completely, not completely altruistic because of course it's also marketing, but they get all the attention for that one event and it's online and everyone in the world can see it. Right. Which is different. So I don't know. I mean,
that'd be amazing.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. It would be so easy. Well, let's shift to some of the things that you've seen, super alternative models for how people have convened during this time. You told me about one the other day that I thought was awesome.
So one of the things I'm loving, and I should be totally transparent, I tend to really hate video games, but one of the things I've been so excited about is performance spaces and artists creating their own worlds within video games. So Elsewhere is a performance space, music space, club in Bushwick. And they, a couple of weeks ago, did a massive live concert in Minecraft. So they created their own Minecraft game. And if you couldn't play within Minecraft, and there were some issues with that because there's only so much capacity, you could watch it on their Twitch stream, or you could watch it on YouTube. And that kind of blew my mind, and that might be because I don't know enough.
Because you're not a gamer, but right.
And then the band 100 Gex is going to be doing one today. And they worked with the same producer. They're called Open Pit. And they've done, I think, a few other kind of virtual things. They did a virtual version of the Fire Festival, and they did a virtual version of Coachella. So, they do a bunch of things that are kind of tongue-in-cheek, and then they do a bunch of things that are just really, really cool. Animal Crossing, I think, has also become really cool. Really interesting. I saw that... on Chapter's website, the gallery, they're an artist they represent, Erin Jane Nelson. She created in Animal Crossing a replica of the museum or of the gallery when it had her last show up.
Nice.
And it was a show I loved. And then it just, it's like, that is so fun to me. So I love the way, also that people are moving to Twitch as a streaming service, because it's a stronger streaming than other options. So I just think that's really, really, really interesting, kind of the real world applications of the video games.
Actually, one of the people I'm hoping to talk to probably on the last week I do this is from the gaming world, because and I'm not a gamer either, but when I was at Tattly, one of my partners was Sony and PlayStation and this massive studio called Naughty Dog, which I'd never heard of them, but they're like, 80 million people around the world play our games, right? And that's when you realize, like, wow, from someone in the fine art world, we often think we are everything. I mean, sometimes, like, we are in our bubble. And obviously, everyone knows, like, the Mona Lisa, but for the most part, people are not, super attuned to what's happening, especially in the contemporary art world. It's definitely a bubble. And then, and I was like, well, I don't know anything about games. And then I realized how many tens of millions of people are all connected by these games, and that, they're made by artists. They're extremely creative. I mean, they're addictive too. But now more than ever, right, the worlds of gaming and just social interaction are coming together. And when you and I were chatting yesterday, and I was like, well, Elijah Wood is on Animal Crossing now, and people are freaking out because he's like buying their vegetables or whatever. And then we were both reminded of how he DJ'd at your event at Comic-Con, and we were there, and everyone was also freaking out, but in real life.
Yes, completely.
So, 5 years ago, we were freaking out about Elijah Wood in real life. And then now everyone in the world can freak out about him going into their Animal Crossing farms or whatnot. It's so weird. It's so meta and crazy. But I mean, I think the online interactive elements of what the fine art worlds and the visual art worlds are, obviously everyone's moving online, but the way you game and interact and have fun, which is what your specialty is, right? You're creating an environment for people to enjoy their time at your galas.
So.
Well, I mean, if I went to a gala and it wasn't fun, I wouldn't go back. So, that's the point. I mean, those are all the ways of creating new, event world content, right? That you and your peers are going to have to think about. And it's going to be exciting to see what comes up.
It is going to be exciting.
You can do this. I know it's got to be hard too, though, because you're doing it like from your living room or your bedroom and not interacting. How has this affected your vendors, just really quickly? Like all the caterers, the florists. I can't imagine how difficult this must be.
So one of our caterers is Poppy's in Brooklyn, and they had also been kind of the week everything shut down was the week they were supposed to be opening their cafe. So it's been a really, like in general, I think for food companies, food service companies, restaurants, catering companies, etc. Like the hit is, I don't think you can express enough how difficult it's been. They are working, Poppy specifically is working with Lancaster Farms to do CSA deliveries or pickups every Monday. They're fantastic. Especially if you're a little apprehensive about going to a farmer's market. And then, you know, in terms of our florists, that's also been really intense. Like we work with Fox Fodder Farms all the time.
Amazing. Yeah.
I know, I love them. But they've shut down their store for a little while. They had just opened a store in Brooklyn. And one of the things I think we both really liked is Birch. She is doing virtual arrangements for people.
Yeah, I love that. That so was much. Cool. Yeah. Birch Floral. It's like BRRCH. Yeah. Everyone should check that out. She's like sending you virtual bouquets in her
It's really, really cool. It's an exciting way to get some art. So it's been tough on everyone because we're all, we've seen this kind of snowball effect of,
well, let's talk about that because you and I we're talking about how we've been around, but we have about 4 minutes. So if anyone has questions for Erin, put in the comments and we'll get to that in the last couple minutes. But, you started working basically around the time of the 9/11 attacks. And then you have been around since the 2008 recession and now here. So tell me how you're feeling about where you are now versus where you were in those other 2 points in time.
I mean, I think, we had been through recessions before. Certainly we hadn't been through a situation like 9/11 before, but I think that the world had an idea of how to rebuild, just from maybe natural disasters. And I think there was, around that time, I think there was a lot of people pitching in, corporations pitching in, more so, I think, than in 2008. 2008 really changed the game in terms of fundraising. And I kind of always feel like it's never really fully bounced back. I kind of use NPR to gauge that because NPR pre-2008 used to have matching or double the match gifts happening all the time on their pledge drive. And now it happens. Now it's starting to happen again, but it didn't happen for years. So that's kind of in my own mind how I've kind of been gauging things in terms of the bounce back. And I'm not sure what's going to happen now. I think the thing is, and everyone keeps saying this is uncharted territory. We've never had anything even similar to this before. So what I'm hoping is that we do end up having, as some businesses, some people are starting to, I just hope that when they start coming back, they can start supporting. I know that foundations have already been doing kind of emergency funding. I think that a lot of people have seen major donors stepping up. One way, if people do have any kind of extra income and any way to do this, if you get a membership to an organization that you really love, that really helps. That really helps. Even a small bit of money really helps.
No, that's so true. We just bought a membership to the the New England Aquarium. But I'm assuming, and then like it arrived the day of the shutdown, our membership card. Oh my gosh. And but I'm assuming, they're all going to extend the duration of the membership because
I would assume so as well.
They were closed, yeah. But no, that's a really good point to get memberships if you can, even at a low level. Well, if anyone has questions, put it in. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Erin, what are you doing to make yourself feel better? Besides going on Animal Crossing and Minecraft things.
So I think, I'm not sure that I mentioned Greenwood. Just in general, I've been loving these kind of rabbit holes on the internet that I've been going into. So I love the dance parties and the DJ parties. Ryan Heffington, I think probably everyone has heard about. And his dance parties are super, super, super fun. Highly recommended. But that then led me into, he owns a dance studio in LA called Sweat Spot. So I have been taking some online classes, but that has also led me to all these other Los Angeles-based choreographers who also just kind of teach different original choreography on Instagram. So I've been loving that. I've been obsessed with finding direct food sources. So I've been looking up, I told you this, grain mills where you can get flour, you can get grits, you can get whatever you want. And it's a small company. I've been looking up citrus and avocado farms. I've been looking, oh my gosh, there's a date farm in California that I'm obsessed with. Oh, you have
Wait, what's it called? I have a 4-pound box of dates coming today.
Is it from Batista Farms?
No, but you have to send me that info because
their website is 7hotdates.com and they have 7 varietals. And according to my friend, so they sell at different LA farmers markets as well. And according to my best friend who lives in LA, they are actually all very good looking. So
and they're all hot. Oh my God. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I will send you that. And then I've been the other day I went down a Luther Vandross rabbit hole, which is one of my favorites.
Nice.
And that kind of came from an Aretha Franklin one. They're all just spinning.
Yeah.
I've also been looking at a lot of the current exhibitions that I haven't been able to see in person. So at Bureau Gallery, Brandon Nadife's show, I think, is gorgeous.
Nice.
And I've really, really liked that. And anyone who is posting some kind of video of streams or rivers or waterfalls, obviously I have a lot of energy and people have been telling me to start a meditation practice for years, which I just think is akin to telling me to relax or calm down. But I've found that those natural water videos have actually really helped me create this practice. And then the drawing center is doing these live drawing sessions that I've really loved. And it's not just kind of, for children. It's not just kind of
there's no pressure now. You can dabble in whatever is out there that you want to dabble in. Yeah. Well, I think a couple of people have said these are amazing recommendations. I think you need to send me a list and I will post it.
I have them. I've been sending them.
Send me and I will share it because that's why we had you on for Friday, because we needed you to help us get the weekend started. And that is 100% true. So
thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin.
Really
honestly, big, super duper big heart
too.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. It's so great to see you, and hopefully we'll see you soon in real life. Everyone say bye to Erin, and I hope everyone has a good weekend. I'll be back tomorrow talking about fashion and sustainability and with my friend Celine. So that's going to be awesome. That's at noon, so it won't be bright and early.
Eastern time.
Noon Eastern time, exactly. All right, bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.